Yo everyone, what's going on? We're going to be checking out the ToneMaster Pro today. We're going to be building a super heavy patch here with this Solar 6-string. It's equipped with evertune, Fishman Fluence Moderns, and it's currently set up in drop G. So super heavy stuff, almost 7-string sort of turf, but in a 6-string, if that sort of makes sense. There's kind of like two main reasons why I wanted to do this video. A, I wanted to have a nice tone for this guitar, but another one is just doing a live preset build here, or close enough to live. I'll show you all the bits and pieces. The ToneMaster Pro does some things well. It also has some questionable UI things that I hope they fix in the future. But yeah, so if anyone has questions about like building a patch or anything, that's kind of what this video is about. And of course, the end result is going to be having a balls to the wall tone. Let's get into it. So I made some mental choices here. I haven't actually done anything on the preset yet, but noise gate, tube screamer. We're going to go with the Bogner Uberschall today. We're going to use 2 cabs, and then we'll chuck some effects into the end, just depending how long this thing's running for. So let's get into it. We'll start with the noise gate. Let's get going here. The metal gate always does the trick. We'll add a block. Go with the tube screamer. Now the default settings on some of this stuff is a little bit hit and miss. The noise gate's fine, but I know the tube screamer, they do some whack stuff. So the overdrive I'm going to take all the way down. You can save presets for this, but I'm just pulling up default straight out of the box stuff. So 100% blend, no overdrive. Level, let's just crank it. We'll go to 71, whatever, that's fine. And yep, we'll leave that for now. So straight to the amp block. Quite a few good high gain heads here. The EVH stuff is good. SLO, the orange, all good stuff, but I just want to go with the Uber today. Same thing, just like the tube screamer, it defaults to these. I really should save presets where things are at noon, because I like to just start with things at noon. Another thing with the volume, way too high in my opinion, especially for building these sorts of tones. Even in the real amp realm, I run all my master volumes on like 2 to 3 these days. I just seem to consistently be getting the best tones out of it, so I'll match the volume there. This amp level down here is just like a sort of like a line out level, so it doesn't affect the tone, whereas the master volume will affect the tone. Just level things out. My OCD kicks in when it doesn't go to 50 there, but I'm getting used to it on this. The gain's going to be savage on this, so we'll just run it at 3 out of 10. So everything's pretty much at noon on this one. Let's get into cab turf. Go with some kind of 4x12. Let's do a little bit different. We'll go with the Friedman. We'll eventually use 2 cabs, but let's just see how this is sounding so far with things stock settings. Kind of just hearing the gain sounds totally fine there. I wouldn't do anything. All right, so I always start with the IR first. I'll leave all the tone stack settings of the amp at noon. This is why I like to make some of these like mental choices first. Like I know I'm going to have 2 cabs, just like I knew I was going to go with that amp. So I'm going to dial this cab in a little bit thicker, a little bit warmer. I know I'm going to bring in some brightness later with a 57 on a different cab. So let's just get something that I know is going to have a lot of body to it. So we start with the SM7B there. I'll leave it on that mic. Another quirk of the ToneMaster is look at these low and high cuts, 90 and 6000. Too much. Let's just leave everything open, and then I can close it in as I need to. It's too dramatic of a low high cut in my opinion. But let's listen to things. And we'll just move the position around. So I'm going to bring in something like this. I'm going to bring that in with the 57, but something with a bit more body. All right, so let's add in the other cab. Now there's sort of fixed routings on the ToneMaster. This is another reason why I wanted to build the preset live, just to show you. When I first started doing this stuff, this was pretty tricky, but it sort of makes sense now. They have fixed signal path types. So that's the instrument series just going in one straight line. And you can see instrument parallel 1 there has a fork in the road if you want to do things, and you can have multiple forks or 2 all the way. So not as flexible as something like a fractal where you can do whatever you want, but it pretty much gets the job done. I really don't have too complaints with it using it in the real world. So we'll move this cab to up here. Just got to wait for it to highlight. Then we'll add a block down there. So we'll go with a different cab. An orange. We'll do an orange. No, we'll stick with the Mega V30, just another Messer kind of thing. So if you save presets for this stuff, I might do another video on presets, some stuff that I'll save. That's sort of how they show up with. So if you have heaps of presets, you could clog up the menu. I don't want to do too many, but it is nice to have them there ready to go. But we'll stick with the default. Whoops, choose the right one. And I'm going to pay attention to the low and high cut because that's always the first thing. I've been noticing like 4400 on the high cut is savage. So we'll just zero that stuff out. And I'll move the mic position all the way to what I know is going to be the most open, or the brightest, I should say. And I forgot to say, this is a 50-50 blend at the moment. We're going to change the blending in just a sec. But I just know from dialing this stuff in, it's in a pretty good place at the moment. I need to lower that other one to let this one shine a little bit more with the high end. Let's mess with the blend of the two. So you have to do it through the mixer, which I'm really not a fan of this. This is one of my most disliked UI things in the ToneMaster at the moment. You have to do things manually, and it doesn't auto gain. You sort of have to just get used to it, which I'm kind of getting used to, but I don't like it. So anyway, I know the A1 is the left speaker and B is the right speaker. I know I want to dip this one down, so we're just going to have to mess around with the levels and see how we can get to our end result. Where that is set for now is fine. I'm probably going to have to revisit this whole thing later. I'm just sort of getting ballpark things, and then we'll go through a stage of refining later. So we'll go to the brighter cab there. We can control the high end with the high cut. I'm just going to leave it there around 10K. Remember, we haven't touched the amp tone stack yet. I really just want to get the mics in a good place, and then we can mess around with the amp setting. So remember, everything's just ballpark at the moment. Let's mess with the amp tone stack. So we'll go in. I find with tunings this low, it's almost like the tone stack is shifted down. So what I would normally reach for treble now, but I know that it's going to be the mids here. I would normally scoop the mids, but I'm not going to do that move with this kind of tuning and everything. So let's take a listen. The mids is like the mid setting on the amp is square at the heart of the single note stuff that I'm playing. So that's what I want. I definitely don't want to duck the mids on this kind of tone. Totally just opened up this tone. We'll hit it with a bit of presence. Treble, I should say. It's hard to ride that fine line of having it nice and bright, but not super fizzy. So I'm going to bring down the high cut on that cab again, just to balance things out. So for now, this is sounding super good. Definitely the kind of thing that I want. There's only so much you can do in isolation with this stuff. Like, I know guitarists obsessed with like trying to dial in the tone here, but it's just out of context. It's just you in your room listening to the reflections of everything, like the memory of what a good tone is. You really need to put this thing into a mix or go to band practice, see if it's cutting through the mix there and everything. Sometimes you dial in what you think is a really good sound here, but it's completely lost in the context of other things. So I'm not going to obsess over it. So that's pretty much the core amp tone done. Now, I find having any modeler on hand, like a physical unit, I'm way more willing to go in there and add some spice and explore the effects pedals and stuff. I really appreciate all that stuff that's in there. So I've added some sample things and I've mapped them to the foot switches here. So I've got the noise gate, which we can just flick off and on. Now, these are like multi-latch switches. I haven't renamed this. They default to multi. But here I've added a chorus and tremolo. So if we want to do, like, this is the sound. This kind of move would be a little bit easier if it was on the ground, but, you know, if it was in the middle of a riff, you can just add some spice to the end of it. So, like, so handy just to have there under the hands. I've also got a delay, which is actually mapped to a reverb and delay pedal. I could order these a little bit better, but that's just what I've done. Oh yeah, I actually added just a little bit of an EQ to the core tones. That's always on. That's an always on EQ that I've got here for this patch. But when I flick on the delay, I also have another EQ, but I'm using that as a volume thing because stacking the delay and reverb just added a little bit of volume and it was an easy way to balance things out. Of course, if you wanted to do some crazy telephone EQ, you could do that sort of stuff here, but I'm just using it there for the volume. And yeah, with the delay, it's just like a... ping pong delay, that kind of thing, into a room reverb. So yeah, very easy stuff just to have off and on. And then yeah, inside, just quickly, foot switch assign. It's not that I'm hiding anything, I just didn't want to bore you with the details, but if I go to foot switch assign, you have all your foot switches. So if I do a new one, there's the different things you can do. So I typically just use things for like off and on. So if I wanted to have like all of these turn off and on with the press of the foot switch, you can change the label. Let's call it all effects. Get that going. You change the color. So color, just go with cyan. And there we go. So all effects there. Back to our view. And obviously the state of that last one was off. If I just switched, sorry, it was on, but if I bypass it, now they will act all in line. So very easy, very simple stuff to get going. I'm not qualified to use this many pedals. That's more of a Leon Todd gig. So anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Back to the core tone. Yeah, it absolutely rips. ToneMaster Pro doing very, very well here in drop G. There we go. If you have any questions about the ToneMaster Pro, any questions about the effects, amps, all that kind of stuff, leave them in the comments below. If you stayed this long to the end of the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. All that stuff massively helps here. And as always, you've been a legend. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I'll catch you on the next one.